Hey guys, this is Eric with Low VA Rates, and today I want to ask you if you know what forbearance is, specifically mortgage forbearance. You know, this is a word that is so new to us, yet we're going to be hearing it, if I had to guess, for months and if not years to come because of this unfortunate event of this COVID-19 coronavirus. If you're not aware what forbearance is, we're going to talk about that today. On March 27th, President Trump signed into law the CARES Act, which in layman's terms is this big federal bailout that you've heard about on the news that's going to try to help everybody possible that has been impacted by this coronavirus or this COVID-19. In addition to the unemployment benefits that this CARES Act gives, in addition to the trillions of dollars that they're trying to put back into the economy for everyone that's been affected by this coronavirus or COVID-19, it makes it possible for homeowners. I'm specifically talking to veterans today, but anybody watching, it makes it possible for you under certain circumstances to not have to make your mortgage payment for up to 180 days, so that's 6 months, and then possibly another 6 months after that. So that's what I want to talk about today. We're going to talk about what forbearance really is, okay? So let's define forbearance. It's a temporary relief of your mortgage payments in this instance. We're talking about forbearance of mortgage payments, and that's done usually by either temporarily pausing your payments for a period of time or pausing certain portions of your payments, or in other words, allowing you to make a certain portion of your mortgage payment. Maybe it's half of your mortgage payment. And there's that defined period of time that I talked about. And in this case, under the CARES Act, it's 180 days and then potentially another 180 days. In normal situations, forbearance for mortgage holders or for borrowers like you, who I'm talking to today, think of other natural disasters that we've had, hurricanes and tornadoes. Normally, it's a certain segment of the United States that might get temporary authorization to go into mortgage forbearance. Here we have the entire country authorized due to this hardship. What's happening to people? Just today, as we film, there was almost 10 million additional people applying for unemployment in just the last week, and that's coming off of the prior week where there were over 3.5 million people. That's a hardship, okay? People who have lost their jobs, they may need to look at forbearance as an option, and we're going to talk about that through this video series. Normally, when we think of not making a mortgage payment when we hit hardship, we might think of deferment. Mortgage payment deferment. Now, this is different. Forbearance and deferment are different. Deferment, you do not continue to accrue interest. It stops. You're deferring that accrual of interest. On forbearance, the interest will continue to accrue, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, let's talk about how forbearance works. There's two main ways in which you can do mortgage forbearance. Number one, as mentioned, you can completely stop making mortgage payments for a predetermined amount of time. The other option is to make partial payments. No payment for a period of time or partial payments for a period of time. Let's talk about reduced or partial payments. When you take the option to have reduced or partial payments, you're still going to owe your lender a payment every single month, just like you were in a normal situation. It's just going to be less. Keep in mind, even on partial payments, when the forbearance period is up, you're still going to owe your lender a sum of money, which is the difference between what you owed and what you were able to pay. Now, let's assume you take the full 180 days and then possibly even 180 days after that where you're not even making partial payments. Keep in mind, when the time frame is up, whether that be 180 days or the second 180 days, so basically a full year, you are going to have this large lump sum of money that is due to your lender, in some cases all at once. Keep that in mind. In some cases, you may not owe all of that interest that has added up over the time that you were in forbearance. Some lenders may choose to allow you to add that onto your end of the loan and pay it off over an extended period of time. So if you're wondering if you should request forbearance from your lender, here's what you need to realize. Number one, the law currently does not require you to prove any hardship whatsoever. Matter of fact, there was an article on CNBC, which is a leading financial news resource, at least for me. That's where I like to get a lot of my news. There's a guy by the name of Mark Calabria. He's a real bigwig at Fannie Mae. And what I found interesting is in this article, he says, we expect homeowners to operate on an honor system. Now listen, I expect the same thing. We hope we're dealing, and we know with our veterans, most of the time, if not every time, we're dealing with very ethical and honest people. But here's the deal, guys. If you don't need forbearance, if you haven't lost your job or had a significant reduction in income, and I'm going to get into this in more details in the upcoming segments that I hope you watch, You could be committing mortgage fraud. It suggests this in the article. If you ask your lender to go into forbearance for COVID-19 issues and stresses, if the lender then comes and finds out later that you did not have a reduction in pay or that you did not lose your job. So if you're going to ask your lender for forbearance, please make sure you need it. This is for people that absolutely need it. And that's the biggest thing I want you to take away and listen to in the upcoming videos.